What is up, guys? It's Swammer here, and I am back after a bit of a brief hiatus from recording some battles. Going to be doing some Ultra Premier Cup action today. Most of my Ultra Premier battles, I've been using that Lapras double grass line that I was using last season. Still working reasonably well with that, but I am seeing more Escavalier, more Toxicroak, and more Alolan Muk, and those can potentially create some problems for that lineup. So trying out a new team today, I'm going to be using Venusaur, Alolan Muk, and Gyarados. Alolan Muk and Gyarados in the back have pretty good coverage against one another. Alolan Muk, of course, is only weak to ground, which is basically going to be a Drill Run from Escavalier and Earthquake from Swampert, and a lot of Swamperts aren't even running Earthquake. Um, and Gyarados handles both of those reasonably well. So I think this should be a fairly interesting team. The backline there is inspired by a team that Zionic featured on his channel. He just had Machamp in the lead, and I'm using Venusaur instead. So let's go ahead and get right into the battles. So I'm not sure how this is going to go. Game has still been laggy, but hasn't been like unplayable the past few days. So Dragonite on the lead. This is terrible. I wish I was leading with my Lapras, but nope. And then they have an Ampharos on the switch, and that's basically game at this point. I am not going to be able to really do enough damage to this Ampharos. It can completely farm me down very easily. I can't really shield up this Venusaur because I need to give my Muk a chance in the back. And this is just going to be a Thunder Punch again. I can't really shield this up. I have to hope that I can survive the Volt Switches and find Whip down and be able to drop a charge move on whatever comes in, but I can't. So just coming in with Alolan Muk. And they haven't their own Alolan Muk, so no point in playing that out. They've got Dragonite and Alolan Muk, both full health, and both have 2 shields, so they're definitely going to win that. So, going to surrender that first match. Really no point playing that out. The game was over. Alright, here I get the Ampharos on the lead. That is much better for me. So I'm going to farm up a bunch of energy here. I'm counting their Volt Switches, and I'm going to throw at their 5th one, so they should be at a Focus Blast basically now, but I've over-farmed on energy, and they let the Frenzy Plant come through, so this is pretty good for me. I'm not going to shield this. It is a Focus Blast, but I'm going to be able to farm down. They need 3 more Volt Switches to get to a Thunder Punch, and they can't get there. So I've got a lot of energy loaded. It's a Scavalier coming in, and debatable at this point whether I should switch or just let them take me out, but I'm deciding to switch into my Gyarados, and they actually come in with Empoleon. So this is looking pretty good for me. I'm liking that I've got that energy saved on Venusaur in case this Empoleon takes out my Gyarados, but I'm just going to be going for Crunch here. Dragon Breath is going to really start to chunk this Empoleon, and the Crunch damage is going to add up. They were looking to farm up quite a bit of energy, so we are actually going to be able to get to a Crunch here and force a shield, so this is looking pretty good for us. They're really over farming. I think they were trying to commit to the farm down, but I'm going to be able to get to an Aqua Tail as well, and this is going to be enough to take out the Empoleon. So, bit of a mistake on my opponent's part, but really good for me. And then, guys, I'm going to try and find the lose condition here. I come into Alolan Muk, and then I'm like, oh, I'm going to build up some energy, hopefully catch a charge move on Venusaur. If not, I'll get off this Frenzy Plant. But what I've done is I've just given them a whole bunch of free counter farm. I need to land 2 Dark Pulses onto this Escavalier, 1 to get the shield and 1 to take them out. And I just gave them a ton of energy to try and get super effective drill runs off on my Alolan Muk. So they're going to be able to land another drill run on me. So I'm just praying that I can survive this, and the counters afterwards gets me very low. I get the Snarl and able to get off this first Dark Pulse. Thankfully, I am going to be able to get the back-to-back Dark Pulses here to take them out. But there was absolutely no need for me to switch back into Venusaur. Trying to do a 200 IQ play when all it took was a 50 IQ play, and again, almost found the lose condition there. So that was not a good choice. If you're in that situation, just go for the double Dark Pulse on your Alolan Muk. That is definitely the way to play that. All right, looking for another match here. We've got Venusaur into Tangrowth, so this is good. We're going to be able to go straight Sludge Bomb and going to be able to do quite a bit of damage. So we are going to go for a Sludge Bomb here. Happy to get the shield or the damage. We do get a shield. That's pretty good. Not going to shield myself. Likely going to be a Rock Slide. But they actually go for Power Whip. So guys, if you're the Tangrowth here, you definitely want to be going for Rock Slide. Power Whip is double resisted. Rock Slide is the much better move to go for as it is neutral. So going to be able to go for a Sludge Bomb. And they're actually swapping into Gallade. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Gyarados. I think that Alolan Muk might have been the better play here. But I am always scared about that close combat. Alolan Muk, of course, resists the confusions, which is why I think it would have been the better play. But hopefully this will work out. We do get another shield from that Gallade, but we aren't able to get to a second Aqua Tail, so they get a lot of energy. I'm not going to shield my Venusaur, expecting this just to be a Leaf Blade. If it was a close combat, I'd be more than happy to come in and farm down with Alolan Muk. Again, expecting it to be another Leaf Blade, which is not going to be enough to take me out. It is just another Leaf Blade. Frenzy Plant is going to take out the Gallade here. And then we've got a 2-shielded Muk against something in the back, and we just have to hope that we can win. They are going to be able to bring in their Tangrowth and get off a charge move, so I'm going to go ahead and shield that up. Again, should be going for the Rock Slide there, and it's Empoleon in the back. So this is a fairly neutral matchup, so with the 1-shield advantage, this shouldn't be a problem for us to win. We are going to shield up the Hydro Cannon, and then go for a Dark Pulse. This Dark Pulse is probably going to do about half. It does about half on pretty much all of the starters. We're going to be able to get to another Dark Pulse here, and this is going to be taking out the Empoleon, and then we should just be able to snarl down that Tangrowth. So that's going to be a good game. I think my opponent made a couple mistakes going for Power Whips when they could have been going for Rock Slides. But I think that game was a lost cause anyways. I just was going to be able to counter their Pokemon reasonably well. Alright, getting into this fourth match. Dragonite on the lead. Not good. Have to switch out of there. Going to go into Gyarados. Fortunately, not met by a Ampharos this time, but Lapras is still a pretty strong Gyarados counter. So, going to go for the Crunch here. And then I was thinking that this was too early to be anything other than a Surf. But it is an Ice Beam, so that's not very good. That's going to deal quite a lot of damage, and I kind of needed to win switch, and I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. So they're also going to be able to farm me down, which is not good for me. Going to come in with the Venusaur and try and farm them down. I am going to have to shield up this charge move. They do successfully bait me with Surf, but they had shown the Ice Beam. They had the energy for it. Fortunately, I can farm them down before they get to the Ice Beam. Dragonite's definitely going to be coming back in here, so I'm going to go for Sludge Bomb to force a shield or get a fair bit of health from this Dragonite. We do get a shield. Going to come in now with Muk, and it's a Blaziken in the back. So that's really bad for us because it's going to resist those Dark Pulses. So debatable what the best call is here. I'm going to go ahead and shield up the Blaze Kick. I probably should have let that come through. And then trusted that I could still, get off a second Sludge Wave, or that, maybe they would try and farm me down, but they're going to drop another Blaze Kick. I am going to be able to get to this Sludge Wave, which is going to get them very low. basically takes them out. Venusaur is going to be able to come in and farm them down, not taking very much damage because they've got counter as that fast move. Going to be able to get to a Sludge Bomb here, which is going to deal quite a lot of damage to this Dragonite, but it's not going to be enough to KO. So we were able to make a fairly close game of it, but they just actually had pretty strong counters for all of our Pokemon. So Dragonite obviously beats Venusaur, Lapras beats Gyarados, and Blaziken beats Alolan Muk. So really not much that you can do in a situation like that. So we're not able to come up with that win there. All right, Venusaur into Machamp. This is a very strong matchup for us. They're going to swap out into Gengar. So I'm going to go into my Alolan Muk. This is very good for us. We're going to be resisting the Ghost-type moves, and Dark Pulse is going to be basically one-shotting this Gengar. So we do get a shield, which is quite good for us. They're building up a lot of energy, so I'm worried that this could be a Focus Blast, but I'm just going to no-shield and hope that it's not. It is a Shadow Punch, so very, very glad that I didn't shield this. This is way too fast to be a Focus Blast, and I don't really need to worry about anything else. So it's a Sludge Bomb, doesn't deal a ton of damage. And again, this is really fast, so it can only be a Shadow Punch. It is just a Shadow Punch, so we're going to go ahead and get to a Dark Pulse. This is going to either take out the Gengar, giving us Switch and Shield advantage, or get us 2 shields up. And we're actually able to get 2 more Snarls in to take them very low. And then Gyarados can come in and Dragon Breath down, and up 2 shields. This is basically a nightmare for them. Both of my Pokemon could take out their Machamp, and they decide to leave the matchup. So, very good for us. I definitely think that double shielding the Gengar was a mistake. They, after I didn't shield that second Shadow Punch, so that third charge move that they threw, they just should have let the Dark Pulse come through. By shielding the Gengar, they basically made it so that I could farm down with Gyarados, get an energy advantage, and then their Pokemon coming back in would have to both overcome an energy deficit and a 2 shield deficit. So really, really tough to come back from that. So, all right, so able to go 3 of 5 on the first set, so not too bad. Hopefully we can get another positive set with this team. So Venusaur into Obstagoon. So this is a pretty neutral matchup. We are resisting the counters, but Obstagoon is just such a monster that he's going to do pretty well. So we're not going to shield this first Night Slash in case they get the boost. And of course my opponent does get the boost, so this is going to be a problem. Obstagoon has the potential to really get out of control. They're obviously going to shield now. They're probably going to double shield this Obstagoon. I'm going to be forced to shield this Venusaur to make sure I get off this Frenzy Plant. So I'm going to go for this Frenzy Plant, and then I'm going to go ahead and swap into my Gyarados. Probably would have been better to go for another Frenzy Plant, because they wouldn't have been able to counter me down, I don't think. But I wasn't sure, so I'm going to swap into Gyarados, save my shield. Going to go for an Aqua Tail here. Unfortunately, this is not going to be enough to take them out, I don't think. And we're going to have to shield up our Gyarados here. We need to get them a little lower. So going to hopefully be able to Dragon Breath down or get to an Aqua Tail, but we can't quite make it. So they're going to be able to take out the Gyarados here. So this is not looking good. They have basically taken out 2 Pokemon to our 1. So Venusaur is going to come back in and farm down. And we're just hoping that we can beat whatever's in the back. And they bring in a Granbull, so that is great for us. We're going to be able to go for a Sludge Bomb. This is going to deal super effective damage, does a lot of damage, and then we're going to try and force them to throw some energy. They actually swap into the Togekiss and take us out with 1 Charm, but this is okay, because we can go for a Sludge Wave here, and Sludge Wave is going to deal a lot of damage to this Togekiss. So we are able to take them out, and then Granbull comes back in and goes down to 1 Snarl. So even though that Obstagoon got the boost, it looked like it was going to go off. Both of the Pokemon in the back were weak to poison types. So the Sludge Bomb and Sludge Wave both being unshielded was really big there. So, good matchup. Alright, Ampharos on the lead. This is definitely where I want to see it. They swap into a Gothitelle, so I'm just going to come in with Gyarados. No matter what was coming in there, I was going to come in with Gyarados to make sure that I avoid that Ampharos matchup. And we're going to go for an Aqua Tail here. We do get a shield, which is quite good for us. Going to shield up ourselves. They've got Rock Slide, and I know that we're going to be able to outpace them to the second move. So I'm going to go ahead and go up for the Crunch here. This is going to either force them to shield or likely take them out. We do get a second shield, so that's very good for us. And they throw their energy, so that's even better. We're just going to let Gyarados go down. I'm happy to take shield advantage here because I can come in with Alolan Muk and completely farm down this Gothitelle. So I'm going to basically leave with 100 energy from this matchup. Don't need to shield. The Rock Slide doesn't deal a ton of damage. And we have a 100 energy for whatever's coming in. And it is Ampharos coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and go for a Dark Pulse. They have no shields, so I'm going to be able to get to another Sludge Wave and take out this Ampharos before it even gets to a charge move, so this is looking really good for us. So Ampharos goes down, and then it is a Sandslash in the back. I think this was, again, it was a mistake, me trying to find the lose condition, but here I actually saw the Steel Ice icon in the top, and I thought it was an Empoleon. I mistook the Ice one for a Water one. So I was like, oh, if it's Empoleon, I'm going to come in with my Venusaur and take it out. But it is a Sandslash. So they're actually going to be able to store up quite a lot of energy against us and have basically back-to-back Ice Punches ready. So this is going to be a little bit iffy. We are going to have to shield this up, even if we need to respect the Bulldoze one, and if it's just an Ice Punch, that'll get us very low anyways. They are getting off another charge move here. It's an Ice Punch. We get very, very low, but we get the Dark Pulse after getting that Snarl through, and that's going to be enough to take out the Sandslash. So really, really good game there. Very lucky to get the Snarl through between the two Ice Punches, and again, I was trying to find the lose condition there. It would have been much, much better to just stay in with Alolan Muk, go for a couple Dark Pulses, and then either shield the Venusaur or the Muk. But anyways, Lapras on the lead here. This is okay. We're counting their fast moves, and we're throwing after 5 Ice Shards, so I know that they don't have an Ice Beam yet. And they let it go through, so this is okay. This could be a Skull Bash at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and shield up the charge move. It is a Skull Bash, so this is looking pretty good. We're going to go and farm them down, and we've got Frenzy Plant in half, and we're going to save that energy and swap into our Gyarados. So it is a Poliwrath coming in, so this is going to be interesting. I don't need to shield anything from this Poliwrath. Dynamic Punch is going to be resisted, and Ice Punch isn't going to deal too much damage. I'm going to build up to a little more than the Outrage, just to sort of make them question whether they should be shielding or not. And then I'm going to throw. So Aqua Tail doesn't deal a lot of damage, but their Mud Shots aren't dealing too much, and Ice Punch is on neutral, so this isn't a terrible matchup for me. I'm going to go for another Aqua Tail, gets them quite low. This Ice Punch is going to get me low, but they're still not going to be able to Mud Shot me down. So because I double resist the Mud Shots, they really still have to throw another charge move, and this Aqua Tail is going to basically take them out. So we do take them out, so we're able to win that matchup there. It's just Alolan Muk, so I'm actually going to go ahead and swap back into Venusaur. Now that I know what's in the back, I can go ahead and use this energy to get as much of an advantage for my Alolan Muk as possible. We do even out the shields, and they're going to have to throw some energy at me because they can't snarl me down. So not going to shield here. Dark Pulse is going to be able to take me out, and then I can come in with my own Alolan Muk, and my opponent recognizes that they've got no win condition there, so they do surrender. Alright, another Obstagoon on the lead. Let's hope this one doesn't get the boost. So going for the Frenzy Plants here. Going to build up some extra energy. They're building up a lot of energy, so I'm sort of wondering if they're going for the Gunk Shot. But I don't think the Gunk Shot takes me out, so I'm not going to shield. But my opponent actually goes for the Hyper Beam, so I just got beamed. Very nicely done by my opponent. Hyper Beam does a ton of damage if you're willing to go for it. Not going to come in with Gyarados and farm down with Dragon Breath. Not going to shield up the Night Slash, but they actually swap into Slowbro. So this is going to allow me to come in with Alolan Muk and basically almost farm them down. So I am going to go ahead and shield. I'm expecting a Water Pulse or Ice Beam, but it was just a Psychic. So knowing that, I really wish I'd saved the shield. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Dark Pulse now. But I really should have probably farmed them down all the way. I don't think they would have gotten to another charge move. Obstagoon is coming in. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Dark Pulse and force them to shield. But we do take them out, so they've got Drifloon in the back. So this is actually really good for our Muk because Dark Pulse is going to be dealing a ton of damage. So they shield up the first one, which makes sense. This is likely going to be an Icy Wind, but I am going to go ahead and shield it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up as much energy as I can before they get to their next Icy Wind. So this is going to debuff my attack further. And we're going to swap into Gyarados to reset those debuffs and try and get that second shield with Aqua Tail. So we get a little bit of lag, but I am able to get the Aqua Tail off first, which is great. That's going to force their shield. And then they're throwing the Icy Wind, and they actually decide to undercharge here, which is a smart play. They need some loaded energy, but they undercharge just a little bit too much, which is going to let me get to another Aqua Tail, which takes them out. So I definitely think that if they'd done the full charge, the Icy Wind would have basically taken out the Gyarados, which at that point they would have lost anyways, because I had almost 2 Dark Pulses on the Alolan Muk. But they just undercharged a little too much, and as a result, I was able to take them out with the Gyarados and didn't have to go back into Muk. Alright, getting into, I think, the last matchup here. So this set has been pretty good. 4-0 so far in this set, so hopefully we can get a nice, clean 5-0. But we'll have to see what we get here. Alright, Venusaur into Escavalier. This is not a good matchup for us, so I'm going to go ahead and come into Alolan Muk, actually. I think this is probably a mistake. I should be coming into Gyarados. But honestly, it's really tough to know. Alolan Muk has an okay matchup here, but it does have to shield the drill runs. Escavalier is still a problem for this team, so not going to shield up this second drill run. I think that I can survive and get off this Dark Pulse. I do survive, and I'm clicking the Dark Pulse, but my phone does another Snarl. So, unfortunate there. They're going to go ahead and swap into a Snorlax, so I'm just going to go for an Aqua Tail. This is going to soften up this Snorlax enough that basically one Frenzy Plant will be enough to take it out. So I am going to go for a Frenzy Plant from this Venusaur now, and that is going to get it very low. They're still able to get off a Body Slam, but I'm going to be able to farm down and get an energy advantage, so that's alright. But they've still got 2 shields here, so this is going to be tough. And they have a Dragonite in the back, so I think this is probably game over. Sludge Bomb is going to be forcing a shield, but then they're going to be able to farm me all the way down and have a lot of loaded energy. Going to come back in with Gyarados. I mean, in hindsight, it's actually good that I went Alolan Muk into the Escavalier because Dragon Breath is going to at least threaten this Dragonite. However, they've got back-to-back Dragon Claws. It's basically going to take me out, not quite, but very, very close. They swap into the Escavalier to drop a charge move. So they end up winning with a shield and 2 Pokemon. So even if I had been able to get off that Dark Pulse from the Alolan Muk, it wouldn't have made a difference because they probably just would have shielded it, and then everything else would have played out the same way. So very well played by my opponent, but again, I think that that team just was a fairly hard counter to my team, and I'm not sure that there was a good way for me to, a different way for me to play that. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.